Welcome to the first episode of a new series I'm calling Underrated Series, where every Friday I'm going to tell you about a series that I have read that I do not hear talked about enough. And who better to start with than my favorite author, Elle Thorpe. Now, I could argue that all of her St. View series are definitely underrated, but I'm not going to talk about those today because those all have done really well. They all have like 7,000 plus reviews on Amazon, and so I'm going to go to the other side of St. View. I'm going to talk about St. View Strip, which is a 4-book series of interconnected standalones that are MF, and they're kind of like a companion series. So they take place around the same time as different trilogies in the St. View universe, and they kind of tie up the stories of some characters, and they center around the strip club. And I think these are absolutely great. They are interconnected standalones, but they do have an overarching like plot that starts in book 1 that you like solve in book 4. So let's get started with book 1. I'm going to try to keep this brief, but this is the first book. It's Evil Enemy. It features Eve, the owner of the strip club, and Boston, the St. View cop. He was Jayla from St. View Prison's partner on the police force, and this takes place at the same time as St. View Prison, and Jayla, who unalives at the beginning of St. View Prison, and you get to kind of see his side of how things play out. This is enemies to lovers, strong, independent, take no crap woman, and it is a great way to start the series. And then we get book 2 on Holy Sins. This one is the one that is the least connected to any of the other books. It takes place around the same time as St. View Psychos, and it is featuring Lyric, a single mom stripper, and Zephyrin, a serial unaliving priest. I love the stripper and priest thing. Plus him being a serial unaliver. He's got some religious trauma. She's a single mom, struggling single mom. It's everything. And this has one of the most painfully slow burns of my entire life, because he is a priest and he has been told like that his desires are wrong, and so he thinks that. And this is just chef's kiss. The way that Elle Thorpe writes this is absolutely beautiful. Book 3 is Killer Kiss. This one is the most I want to say like the most anticipated, like interweaved into the rest of the series, because this features Augie, who is the asshole older brother from St. View High, and then this features Ophelia, which is the older sister of Vincent Flashlight from St. View Psychos. This is honestly, I loved everything about this book. The way this book is just everything. It's the first book that I read for Elle Thorpe. We got to pick the cover model and name it within the Elle Thorpe Readers Group, which felt really cool. And I love this. So they're just like assholes to each other. They're both the problem. They're both the worst. This is also our child-free book, so neither of them from the very beginning, neither of them want kids. They're both in their 30s. They're like, yeah, we don't want kids, and I love it. And then we finish off with book 4, Caged Bird. This is about Fawn and Zane. Now this one is a little bit different than the others because this one does take place 5 years later. So at the end of book 1, we see Fawn go missing, and she's presumed dead. Her ex-boyfriend kidnapped her and basically tells them all that she's dead. And Zane is her ex-boyfriend's younger brother. And 5 years later, he finds out that his brother has actually had Fawn held captive for 5 years, and they have a 5-year-old son. And so, you know, he's got to get her out of the situation. She's traumatized. This one was very, very heavy on the trauma and very, very beautiful. I absolutely loved every second of this book. The trauma, the way, like, just seeing like the trauma response, the sadness, the way that this plays out. It was a really good end to the story. And yeah, this is what I mean by there's an overarching theme throughout, because she goes missing in book 1, book 2, we're like, where is she? Book 3, her sister comes to town because Fawn is the younger sister of Vincent Sight and Ophelia. Her sister comes to town to try to find her, and then they find out that she's unalive. And then at the end of that one, we find out that she's not unalive and she's got a little one. And we get to see all the characters 5 years later have their happily ever afters, like, and it's everything. So yeah, I absolutely love this series, and I do not think it gets talked about enough, and I think it should. You don't need to read any of the Y Choose books. I mean, I think you should, but you don't need to understand these. But I do think they're best read in order, but they are interconnected standalones, and you could read them alone. You just won't get all of the things solved like that. But this book series is everything, and I love it so much.